We are live. Hello and welcome, everybody. We have government shutdown today. And with last week H1B updates, there's so much going on. But Samir, you're back. For people who don't know you, do you want to do a quick intro?
Sure. Thanks, Yudi. Hi, everyone. My name is Samir Kedeker. I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm based out of Silicon Valley, though I wish I was with my colleagues in our DC Metro office right now because a little known fact, and one of the attorneys in our firm who's in DC told us this, when the government shuts down, all the bars and restaurants open and offer incredible deals, basically all day for all government employees or anybody else, just because nobody's working. Everyone's on furlough, right? So they
Oh, wow.
they offer like happy hour level deals, just basically from
Hmm.
morning till night.
Does this government shutdown impact immigrants? Is it what's the purpose of this?
The purpose of the shutdown has nothing, or like it's the reason for the shutdown has nothing to do with immigration, but
Okay.
there are impacts on immigration. So
Hmm.
the reason for the shutdown is because the government cannot continue functioning unless there is an agreement on what the budget should say, right?
Hmm.
The budget is created by the president, right, and must be agreed upon by 60% of Congress, right, of the Senate, right. So it's like the one time where Democrats have a little bit of sway, because while they don't hold a majority in any of the houses, they are needed. I mean, their votes, some of their votes are needed to reach that 60% threshold, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So the messaging is Democrats are not acquiescing to the budget because they want the Republican Party to keep subsidies on Medicare taxes. So basically, on kind of healthcare subsidies, basically making
Hmm.
it easier for people to afford health insurance, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Under the ACA. And as I understand it, the Republicans don't want to do that. They don't want to spend the money on it. So they couldn't come to an agreement, and the Democrats said, no, without that, we're not giving you our votes. And they were pretty unified. So the government had to shut down. So what that means now are that most government workers are on furlough, meaning they're on temporary kind of leave or just not working, right? And are not being paid until that happens. USCIS will continue to operate because USCIS does not get their money from the budget. They get their
Hmm.
money from filing fees. Okay.
Hmm.
So we can still file petitions and applications and stuff with them, and they're continuing to work. What we cannot do are initiate H1Bs because H1Bs require us to file LCAs, right? Initially as a first step with Department of Labor. And Department of Labor is not working. So they've shut down the whole flag system and we cannot process LCAs. So we can't do H1B transfers, we can't do H1B extensions, things like
Hmm.
that. Yeah.
How long does this shutdown usually last? Is it like negotiation?
I don't know if there's a usual. This is the first time I remember the government being shut down in a long time. So
Mm.
um, I think they're as long as it takes to come to a resolution.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we don't know. I think this is
Mm.
a day by day thing. I think if we follow the news, we can probably get a better sense from them at this point.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Mhm.
For people who are new and haven't yet registered, next week, I think, Samir, we have our first masterclass on options for founder. If you are someone who wants to start a company, etc., what are your immigration options? So Samir is going to do a masterclass on that, and then 2 weeks from then we have masterclass on profile building for O1, EB1, and national interest waiver.
Mhm.
Especially very important at this point of time. So, but on that note, Samir, what's going on with H1B? Like, do we have any clarification, like 100,000 change of status on that? Is it going to be applicable? Is it not going to be applicable? Especially for OPT students who are moving from F1 to H1, participating next week. I mean, next month. Sorry, next lottery, upcoming lottery.
Yeah, since we last talked about this, so since like the Sunday or Monday after the proclamation came down, there have been no updates.
Mm.
So, so no, I don't have any official updates from the government. I do know that many organizations, companies, industry associations, chambers of commerce, Congress people have asked USCIS and the White House and others for clarification, and we have not received it yet. So what we have noticed, and our firm has noticed this too, because we filed a bunch of H1B transfers since then, and there's no way to pay the fee. So H1B transfers seem to not be affected in any way.
And I know that your firm typically does premium processing. So have you heard any kind of RFEs or anything?
No RFEs. No, we haven't received anything on that. We've heard of approvals coming in. So
okay.
yeah, so transfers are probably going to be unaffected for now. As far as the filings go, right? We still don't know about future travel.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the entry that's conditioned on the payment of the fee.
Right. Yeah.
Not
So
the approval of the petition.
So are we saying for the students who are on OPT who will enter into lottery next year, because that's going to be change of status, it's not going to have 100,000 petition fee?
Well, that we don't know. That has a higher likelihood of being subject to the fee.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're not really entering; they are already in United States.
Yeah, but in theory, so the thing is, the way that the proclamation was kind of worded was that it conditioned entry on the showing that a fee accompanied the petition.
Yeah.
So does that mean that even in order to file a petition, well, let's say you're picking the lottery, great, you made it past the salary weighting and all that stuff. Now the company has to file the petition, right? And at that point, are they going to have to pay the $100K? Right? That's the question that we don't know. We don't have an answer to. Okay. And by the way, there's a lot of time between now and then. For people seeking answers, good luck. Not only do we not have clarification, there's going to be lawsuits. It's going to be an eternity of time and developments and changes that occur between now and March 1st of next year. So hold on to your horses.
Yeah, and I think a lot of students are asking this because they are probably facing the impact, because employers are not they don't know what's going to happen, so they don't want to take that risk or next step. So so students don't know how to navigate that screening call. They're like, okay, I don't have to pay 100,000, or I do have to pay, etc. But yeah, we will.
Well, you have nothing to say right now. There's nothing you can say. Yeah. There's nothing even we know. I was at an industry conference with all the top law firms and lawyers in the country last week, and nobody knows anything. Even USCIS didn't know this was going to happen.
Wow. Do we have any update on the wage level rule? Is that's still in commenting period?
That's in the comment period. Yeah.
Okay.
So once it clears the comment period, they'll publish a final set and kind of go through the internal approvals. They'll publish a final regulation, at which point, once it's implemented, will be subject to lawsuits.
Yeah. And then no update on the DHS, the 4-year F1 rule?
No, that just cleared the comment period yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
So on Monday. Yeah.
So now they will publish the final.
That's correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That could be another month or two before we see what that looks like.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'll get to the Q&A part. Are there any current H1B renewal denials you are seeing?
I'm assuming you're talking about in relation to the $100,000 proclamation, and the answer is no.
Yeah. Okay. And then any current trends in national interest?
Yeah, they're really hard, if not impossible. The last 2 months have seen all of us get denials kind of across the board. The denial rate has skyrocketed over the last 2 months, and I'd say they're focusing most of their denials on employees of companies, right? So think about it, though. I mean, it's one thing for them to deny these cases and kind of not read the petition, not read the RFE response. and maybe not apply the law correctly. But if you think about why they're doing that, a lot of companies are not doing perms, right? They're not doing green card cases because of the labor market, right? Some companies are not unable to do so because they got in trouble with the government, like Meta and others.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they're not doing perms and there's kind of widespread news of like a tough labor market for employees, right? Why would USCIS then turn around and approve NIWs as the end around to these the perm process, right? They wouldn't. So it stands to reason that they're not going to be very easy at all, NIWs. And so right now we're seeing mostly the very traditional kinds of NIWs for researchers and maybe entrepreneurs as the only ones that are consistently getting approved.
Okay. Right. Selected in lottery this year, H1B approved last week. Is it safe to travel in October and for stamping? Does quick F1 to H1B transition within 6 months be a question of intent by officer?
No, I mean, there's no danger in terms of your intent. Once you have an H1B, you can have the intent to remain in the U.S., go back to your home country. It doesn't matter, right? So the H1B is kind of intent agnostic almost. So no, there should be no kind of worry from that perspective on traveling for you.
Nice. Okay. Currently on STEM OPT, can I travel for first time H1B visa stamping this month on a petition approved in 2024 as a counselor notification, not change of status? Does 100K apply to me?
The 100,000. So we should all know, everybody, that this rule does not apply to H1B petitions that were filed when? Before September 21st.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is clear. Okay.
Yeah.
So
anything that is filed before September 21st.
That's right.
Even the approval, even if the approval was pending, but the file.
Correct. It's when it was filed. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
So that being said, in this case, you have a separate concern, which is now you're a year plus after your H1B is approved and you're making your first entry. And historically, we haven't seen a problem with that, but there is a small chance that the consular officer may question whether or not there's a bona fide job here because he took so long to activate it, right? So definitely work with your employer on that.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any updates regarding cap exempt H1s? Are those supposed to be 100K fee if applying for H1 for the first time? Currently working in US on STEM OPT.
As far as we know, they are subject if we're filing after September 21st and you're outside the US. If those two conditions are met, then it seems like you are. If you're filing for a change of status here in the US because you're here on OPT, I don't think so. Because there's not even a mechanism to pay the fee right now. So we just haven't heard any anecdotes either way as to whether or not this has worked yet.
Yeah. Okay. What are the implications for someone on H1B who loses their job, and how might a government shutdown affect this situation? Kind of covered it, but
yeah. Well, with somebody who loses their job, I mean, I think we've done a whole separate video on this because there's a lot of content on that. So please do check for that.
Yeah.
But the idea being is that you're trying to now at this point find a new job or change your status within the 60-day grace period that you have, right? How might the government shutdown affect it? Well, if it lasts for a long time, we can't do H1B transfers. Like we can't file H1Bs without filing LCAs, and we can't file LCAs when the government's shut down.
In general, how long, what is the longest period the shutdown has been in the history of I don't know.
That's something that I wish I looked up before we hopped on this video. I don't know, because it's never happened before, as long as I can remember. But it can't be that long. I can't imagine it being for more than several days or a week or two. But who knows?
Yeah. Gotcha. Right. I have H1B stamping appointment scheduled in India. Does government shutdown slow down the process?
So government shutdown should not slow down the consular process. So you should be able to continue doing your stamping.
Hmm.
Yeah.
My I-140 approval notice has a specific SOC code mentioned. Who determines this code, my employer or USCIS? Also, for 2026 H1B lottery, do I have to use the same code or can employer change it?
Yeah, the Department of Labor determines it in their prevailing wage when your employer did the perm, and that has to carry through to the I-140 process. So the government determines that, not USCIS, not your employer, but DOL does.
Mm.
As far as SEC code for the employer, like that's something for the H1B, that's something your employer will need to enter onto the form. They will almost always use the same one that's already been given to you by the government agency. But it's up to them as to whether or not they are going to change it. Maybe your job changed, it's really up to them. But they have to self-report it, and they typically do the same one.
Mm. Okay. Will $100,000 fee apply to me in the case of concurrent H1B filing by second employer after 21st September?
I don't think so. I feel like that's like in the same boat as renewals and transfers, where it seems like they're not affected, but we're not sure. But we cannot advise you on travel at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a clarity on the proclamation fee, whether applicable to H1B transfer or change of status from B2 to H1B with a new employer? And how does the H1B transfer process looks with the government?
Yeah. I think we've answered both questions at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is cybersecurity considered national interest waiver if working for a top tech firm?
And it's not as simple as like you're in a field that they like, you'll get approved. I mean, it's so much more complicated than that. Like I mentioned, NIWs are getting denied at a very high rate for employees working at top tech firms. So it's in my view, of course it is. Of course, cybersecurity is considered something in the national interest. Is it a strong enough case to get a national interest waiver approved? No, that's because the government is basically saying their interest of protecting jobs for U.S. workers outweighs any of these kind of interests in allowing talented immigrants like yourself working in these certain industries to bypass the perm process. So, so for that reason, it's unlikely you'll get an NIW approved nowadays.
So what would be the alternative? O1, EB1?
It depends on what they're trying to accomplish. Are they trying to? I mean, they're trying to get a priority date, right? There is no alternative. So that's a point. An EB1, but that's like you need to work your way up to that often, right? That's not an immediate alternative.
Yeah, got it. Okay. I'm on STEM OPT. I have one last chance on H1B lottery. I work remote and fall under wage level 4. If my H1B gets picked and when my LCA is filed as remote location, would there be any issue?
So I'm taking your question as, would there be any issue under the new wage rule working remotely? And so far as your level 4, and if your H1B gets picked, then I don't see the issue other than there's that $100,000, fee rule that you have to contend with.
So. Yeah. Okay. Was previously on H1B, did change of status to B2 approved and did change of status in prior PP to F1 got approved in less than a day. I guess you're just informing us. There's no question, so maybe there's any. No, I don't see any question. Okay. Are we allowed to have a referral bonuses and cashback bonuses from website like Rakuten on F1 visa? If yes, are these bonuses taxable?
I'd be careful about these. I'm not exactly sure what the context is for receiving them, but my understanding is some companies like to come on campus and recruit students to do like marketing and stuff for them, right? And that's considered work. So if you do this, and you don't have an LPT or CPT, you're illegally working. So it's, by extension, you should not be receiving compensation for that. So I would be careful.
Yeah. I imagine this one is more like, yeah, you're right. But I imagine this one is more like an app that they have a reward, referral reward. Like if your friend asks, like, hey, use like a credit card. If you use, you get like $10.
I see. So if that's the case, that's not really income. That's
Yeah.
like getting savings on, that's like using coupons,
Yeah.
right? So no, I don't, those bonuses are not taxable.
Yeah.
I mean, read the IRS rules. I
Yes,
think
they
if you
start
read,
doing like affiliate marketing and actively
right,
becoming
yeah.
like, yeah.
Or if they reach a certain amount, like if you do this for a living, right, and you're making like $100,000 a year, then we have to rethink everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What changes are expected in EB2 national interest waiver and EB1 rules criteria? As I heard, those are also under investigation.
I don't know about investigation per se. I mean, there certainly are proposing some, changes to the rules. We don't know. The only ones that we are kind of thinking are coming down the line are kind of rule changes with relation to the gold card that was also discussed. That's the one thing we haven't really talked too much about, but it was released. That proclamation was released on the same day as the $100,000 rule, and like the idea, I think we don't really know what the gold card is, but it seems like if you pay $1 million, then you can be either EB1 or EB2, right? So if any rule changes might come down the line, it's to allow for the inclusion of gold card, applicants in the EB1 and EB2 category. But that being said, the president and the White House, they cannot change materially the EB1 and the EB2. They can't get rid of it. They can't make material changes to it because they were created by Congress. So Congress, has to be the one to either materially amend it or get rid of it. And that's unlikely to happen.
Okay. I'm on F1 STEM OPT. My H1B I-797B was approved in 2024 via consular processing with Company A. In January 2024, I transferred my H1B to Company B while staying on F1. I'm still on F1 now. Are there risks for stamping or change of status inside US from F1 to H1B with federal shutdown or 100,000 fee?
I mean, it's a super specific situation, and I think I recommend you talk to an attorney about that one. I do think there are risks. I think there are risks if you've never activated the H1B. It seems like companies have filed the petitions, but you still haven't activated it, and there might be a chance you lost it, right? Because you haven't activated it yet. So I would certainly talk to your company's lawyer or independent lawyer and try to get more advice specifically on what to do.
Okay. Sorry, we already covered that. Can this buying gold card bypass the EB1, EB2 queue? If not, what is the process after buying the gold card? Does it place
We
on the
don't know
front?
the answers to any of these questions because what the president said is he's giving the government 2 months to figure out the process. So we're waiting to hear what the process is going to be.
Yeah.
So once we know more, we'll let you know.
It was shut down 7 years ago. The longest it has been shut down is 1 month.
Yeah. It's a long time.
Yeah. Is that masterclass on weekend? I think it's on Tuesday.
Yes, it's on Tuesday.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we are talking about masterclass. Links are already in the description. Okay. Are nurses going to be exempt for $100,000 fee?
We know doctors probably are. We don't think nurses will be, but we don't know for sure.
Have any lawsuits been filed against the 100K H1B fee? Is there any prospect of lawsuits?
No lawsuits as of yet, but yes, there are definitely the prospect of lawsuits. They're just seeking plaintiffs and other individuals that are going to be impacted by the rule, and they will file soon. We don't know when exactly.
Thank you, EB1. Gotta put the hustle hat again. Yeah. I mean, join our masterclass again. So hopefully that will help you as well. Okay. On an H1B, got an acquisition offer for a side project for a one-time fee. Any legal issues now in the future if I go ahead with the sale? Sounds like a consultation is needed.
Yeah, we need to know a lot more information for this one. Feel free to reach out to us. We can help you.
Yeah. Again, Jaydev, there is a link in the description as well. So if you want, you can reach out. Okay. There we go. L1 is maxing out on August 1st, 2026, with recapturing, and company plans to recapture another 60 days in March 2026 and apply for H1B lottery. Will the additional 100,000 be applicable?
Yes, but I don't understand how you'll get an H1B, because if you're maxing out the L1A, L1A is for 7 years. The time in L1A counts towards H1B, which is 6 years, which leaves you no time for the H1B. So you would have to be outside the US for a full year before you can be applied for again. So I think that's the bigger issue. Assuming you were able to get an H1B, then in theory, the fee would be applicable to you in next year's lottery.
Okay. Right. H1B, concerned about possible Department of Labor wage hikes risk my job even at level 1. My profile isn't strong for a O1 or EB1A yet. As a biomedical engineer, what alternatives exist if wages or costs become unsustainable?
Well, your profile isn't strong for the O1 or EB1 yet, but yet is the operable term. Your alternatives are to get yourself, build your profile towards an O1. That's basically it.
Yeah. Yeah. I quit my job, moved to India, and my employer did not withdraw the petition. Now my employer is ready to rehire me. Do I need a new petition? Is 100,000 K fee applicable?
That's a great question. I don't think the fee is applicable because you've had an H1B before. So, and I don't know if a new petition is required, honestly, because it was never withdrawn. So you might just be able to enter with your visa stamp in the same petition.
Yeah. Sorry, my internet might be choppy, but I think we are good to go. Will the entry fee apply to all temporary visa, F1, H1, B1, B2?
No, just H1.
Just H1. Yep. Okay. What should I tell my employer about H1B? I'm on OPT, just graduated, and since no one has clarity about it, got an interview tomorrow.
There's nothing you can tell them because nobody has clarity. So we can't give that to you either. So I would suggest my suggestion is you just say you need an H1B and that you don't know anything about the new rule.
Yeah. Okay. Currently on F1 OPT and in United States, is $100,000 fee applicable if I travel abroad for stamping then?
It's not applicable to those on F1 and F1 visas. It's only applicable when you're trying to change to H1B from F1.
Yeah. Okay. If a wage-based H1B system gets approved, will it be implemented starting with 2026 lottery or from 2027 lottery?
Well, I believe their intention is to start it with the 2026 lottery.
Yeah. Okay. May have missed this as I joined late. Can someone on F1 OPT travel internationally? Will this impact their status or ability to re-enter United States?
In theory, somebody on F1 OPT can travel freely with a visa stamp and proof of their employment. So definitely check with your school on all their travel tips and make sure you're taking all the required documents, including your I-20 annotated with travel and anything else you're supposed to take with you.
Okay. On STEM OPT, H1B approved, I-797, laid off August 31st. USCIS received withdrawal on September 26. SAVP portal now shows October 1st as end date. Is service terminated? Can work? And how to withdraw receipt?
Talk to your school and tell them See, what should have happened here is as soon as you were laid off, that you told the school, because I think there are ways that they could have kept the your sevis from being terminated. Your sevis was terminated not because of the withdrawal; it was terminated because you had an H1B approved. It hasn't even found out about the withdrawal. So now you need to go to your school and ask them to reopen your sevis and tell them the H1B was withdrawn. They might require that you provide them with the confirmation the H1B is withdrawn. So you might have to get that from your employer. And I'm not sure if that's in yet. So it might take some time.
I'm on approved STEM OPT EAD. How true USCIS officer site visits are? I'm working from home, I'm assuming, but not sure. Oh yeah, I'm working from home.
I haven't seen or heard too much on STEM OPT site visits, but they're not unheard of.
So what is the purpose of site visits for OPT and STEM OPT students?
To make sure, and I mean, site visits, and to be clear, they can occur with any visa type, right? And the purpose is always the same: is to make sure that whatever kind of you represent on the application that you're doing, that's actually happening. So they'll look for evidence to make sure that you're doing what you promised you'd be doing. They'll want to see your workspace. They'll want to see your work product. If you're working from home, then they may ask for documentation about your employment, things like that.
Right. Scenario where someone was recently laid off. They have valid H1B till 2027 with valid I-140. They moved on to H4, currently job hunting. If they start application for H4, starting working on H4 EAD after 2027, if they want to move on H1, will it be a transfer or a new application? Should they stay on H1 till 2027 and later 2027 apply for H4 EAD?
My recommendation is talk to, it sounds like you have some very specific questions, and there's no right answer here. It's what suits this person best. Is that you or your friend? In any case, I would recommend that person consult an attorney and walk them through the situation.
Okay. Being on H1B holder, can I offer free services like free mentorship on ADP list? Sorry if this is not the right channel for this.
No, this is the right channel. It's a good question. I'm not sure what ADP. Do you know what do you know what that is? ADP list.
It's like a mentor. It's like a mentorship website. Like,
so long as you receive nothing in return, like if it's like volunteer work is okay, right? It should be like traditional volunteer work, right? So clearly working for like a hospice or like a animal shelter is okay. And then there are other things that are not clearly traditionally volunteer work. You could be working for free for a company. That's not traditional volunteer work. That's just like servitude, essentially, right? So if this mentorship is free and is traditionally done by volunteers, then I think it's okay.
Yeah. I plan to travel to India in November. My H1B is valid till May 2028, but stamp expired. So I'll need stamping. You clarified 100K rule does not apply, but my company lawyer isn't clear. Is it safe?
That's the worst. It's like, my lawyer doesn't know, even though everyone is saying it's clear. That must not be a good feeling. So long as your H1B was filed before September 21st. Yeah, which I believe it is, because it's valid to May 2028. So it must have been filed back in May, April or March or whatever it is, 2025. So you're okay.
Yeah. Just because she doesn't have stamp, I think maybe there's confusion.
Right. It's the travel part is confusing, but it only applies to petitions that were filed before after September 21st.
Yeah. Is the shutdown affects F1 student?
It's a good question. I don't think so. Although I don't know what the impact is on SCVP and ICE and all of those. Well,
Mm.
that's an interesting question now. Are there going to be ICE raids when the government shut down? I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know the answer to that question, actually. No.
Mm.
The reason I'm bringing up ICE, not to scare everybody, ICE does administer the SCVP program and oversees the student visa process, and so that's why I was wondering about that. I actually don't know the answer to that question, but your school would know.
Mm.
Yeah.
Any clarification on change of employer? 100,000 fee for someone outside United States. I was laid off. Have a valid H1B stamp. Ex-employer hasn't withdrawn H1B.
Ex-employer hasn't withdrawn the H1B. I don't know for sure, Akshay. We actually have a client in the same situation, and we'll find out. I mean, now we can't do the H1B because the government shut down. But we were planning on proceeding under the theory that they're not subject to this because it's not like a lottery case. It's not a new case, but we're actually not 100% sure. What we do know is that your employer has no way of paying the $100,000, right? So I think you can probably get the petition filed and approved, no problem. The question is, will he have an issue entering the U.S.? And I don't think he will, but I can't say that for sure.
Yeah. Is it safe to travel in November to December on F1 STEM OPT final year while the 4-year?
The rules and comment period.
Yeah. What if the rule is passed when I'm in India?
Yeah, I can't tell you honestly one way or the other because we don't know when the rule will be published, passed, effective, and what it'll even say at this point. So if you're concerned about that, then I would say don't travel. But I think if you're in your OPT and it's already been approved for a certain amount of time and you're in that period, I can't see how you're going to be affected. Like it would stand to reason it would impact people prospectively, right, in the future.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm on STEM OPT and my H1B change of status has been pending for more than 3 months now. I was planning to travel to my home country to get my initial H1B stamp at the end of the year. Would that be possible now?
yeah, once again, your H1B is not impacted by the $100,000 rule.
Is stamping mandatory if you don't have any travel plans?
No.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah. I have applied for F1 STEM OPT and I'm waiting for approval. I have completed 120 days of 180. Should I apply for premium processing and when?
That's up to you. That's not an answer. That's not a question that we can answer for you, right? I would always say yes. I think better if you have the money. Like that's not something that I could help you with, but I would always recommend premium processing in this day and age, if you can.
Yeah. I'm on F1 OPT and working for a company. Can they apply for my H1B if I not leave United States for let's say 3 years until it's finalized?
We don't know what it's going to be like at that time. So,
yeah. I think he's saying I won't travel. So
but I don't know if it's going to be like, are all employers going to be required to pay the fee when they file the petition next year? We just don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question about ability to work in a role which is not directly associated with my degree. In my case, I'm a chemical engineer and I had taken up a business related course on product marketing. Can I be eligible to work as a product manager for a tech company who have nothing to do with chemical engineering?
And this being an immigration Q&A, please always tell us what your immigration status is because that impacts our ability to answer the question. So I'm assuming it's H1B or F1 OPT, right?
Yeah.
In the OPT case, you have to work in an area that's related to your degree. So I think being a product manager for a tech company doesn't seem to have anything in relation to a chemical engineer. Okay. For an H1B case, that question and answer is a little nuanced, right? Are we going to be able to show there are crossover concepts you've learned in classes you took, right? That would qualify for both. But that would be something that a lawyer would need to take a look at for you.
Mm. What about, I mean, he's not asking this, but what about if I was a product manager for a company who's into chemical engineering, but my role is a product manager for it. So I
Yeah.
would have to understand how the chemical things
Yeah,
work.
that would make more sense on both the OPT and the H1B context. But he's asking about a tech company.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Is the masterclass on profile building for beginners? I say beginners because I don't have that much info on EB1A, and with that, I see no way nearly
yes,
qualify for it.
this masterclass is for you.
Yes. Yeah, and it's like it's free, so you don't have to pay for it. Okay. On initial OPT, STEM approved, H1B approved, I-797, got laid off in August. After October 1st, can I still transfer my H1B to a new employer if the previous employer withdrew?
It's probably not possible for you. Some employers may give it a shot and it may actually work. They may get lucky. But in most cases, USCIS would say you have not activated the H1B, so you can't transfer something you haven't even activated in the first place, right?
Mm.
So most employers would not even move forward on this petition for that reason. But yeah, in some cases, some have tried it. In a few cases, they've gotten lucky.
Yeah. I am doing change of status from F2 to H1B, and for stamping, if I travel, do I have to pay? I have approved the I-797B copy and doing change of status from F2 to H1 in US right now.
And do you have to pay for what? For stamping?
I'm assuming 100,000. I think she's talking about
Oh, the
100,000.
Oh, I see. I was like, I didn't realize that was the question. Okay, so no.
I mean, that's my guess. But
yeah, but when was the petition filed? Now you know, Priyanka, if it was filed before September 21st, the H1B petition, then you're not subject.
Yeah. Okay. Can I work for a company who is not e-verified on my initial post-completion OPT and on STEM OPT?
Only on initial OPT, not STEM OPT.
Yeah. Okay. I'm on F1 OPT, graduated recently, lost my passport and got it reissued. Is it advisable to travel in a year end for F1 visa stamping again, if get the slot, or wait for the situation to normalize?
If you're waiting for the situation to normalize, you might be waiting for a very long time. So I would probably recommend that you get stamping done as soon as you can if you need to travel. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I have B2. I have my B2 change of status approved from H1B recently, but I've decided to return back for now. Will I be able to return back to provided my employer file for new H1B since I do have a valid stamp?
If you have a valid H1B stamp, then you can return on that with a new approved I-797. So if your employer files and gets an H1B approved for you, you can use your stamp from the prior employer so long as it's unexpired.
Yeah. Priyanka was asking about 100K. I'm on F1 OPT and I'm traveling to India in November. Will I be able to come back safely?
Sometimes I feel like we're like oracles. Like, so obviously nobody can predict the future, but I don't see any reason why you shouldn't, without knowing anything else about your personal situation. And if there's anything strange or kind of, different about your case.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to be in India too, Samir. So
nice.
I think
Well, if he's stuck, then maybe you can bring him back with you.
Yeah, I'll probably call you. But I don't get access to So, but I have the phone. So if CBP officer is asking me, I can still call you, but I can't. There's no.
You can't call a lawyer when you're within kind of the CBP area.
Oh, interesting.
So what some of my clients have done is that they've designated somebody to call me if they don't come out of the CBP area within a certain amount of time.
But then what do you do? Like, do you like? How can? So what do you do even if that's the case?
There's very little that I could do, anyways, because once you're in there, you're in there. But I could definitely, engage them in conversation. I wouldn't worry too much. Yeah, I think it'll be fine.
Okay. My L1B is max out in 2027, and I want to know how many H1B options I have. What?
Well, if your L1B is maxing out, that means your 5 years are maxing out sometime in 2027. So you have next year and maybe the year after. But you're only going to have like 1 or 2 years of H1B time left to you.
Proclamation from President says 100K rule is applicable to people outside United States. Frequently asked question from USCIS says even OPT people are affected. Which one holds precedence?
We don't know. Great question.
That's so dumb. I feel like they did not think through this.
They did not think it through. No. And I want to reemphasize, USCIS didn't even know this is coming. So everyone's scrambling right now.
Okay. I'm currently employed under a non-profit visa with my I-797 approval from 2024. I'm planning to travel for first time visa stamping in October 2025. Should I be concerned about 100,000 or government shutdown news?
No, because why, Yudi?
Was filed before September 21st.
There you go.
Yeah. I think you're a great teacher. There are people commenting on your teaching as well.
This is not calculus. It's just like, this is like a before or after. But I understand why it's confusing. It's the petition needs to be filed before September 21st, not your visa stamping, your H1B petition.
Yeah. If H1B gets rejected during counselor stamping, can someone return back if F1 is still valid?
Yes, but I guess it depends on why the H1B is rejected, and if they going to revoke all your visas, right? Because the only reason they'd reject your H1B I'm not saying it's H1Bs are rarely rejected at the consulate, number one, okay? But if it was, it's kind of a big deal. And it's a big enough deal that it'll be the basis of rejecting all your visas. So it means like you committed fraud or something. So I don't think it's going to happen to
you. Yes, we can. Can someone apply for H1B lottery and once picked travel to US on B1, B2, F2 and then apply for H1 with change of status without...
Well, if you read the proclamation, they had a specific section saying, ordering the government to look into the situation and make sure that they don't allow it to happen. So I would say the answer is no.
Yeah. Okay. If someone switches from L1 to H1B, the subject to being selected in the next lottery, would the 100K fee apply, or would it be considered as a change of status, not applicable to 100K fees? Oops, sorry.
You'll be subject. You're in the lottery, next lottery, just like a student would be. So you'd be just as subject as they would.
Yeah. Okay.
By the way, we've never had, at least in the last few months that we've been doing these podcasts, anybody asked for L1 to H1B. And in this podcast, we've had at least 3 questions about that.
Is there like what? And is there a trend like people moving?
No, I don't know why. It's kind of random.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in US working H1B stamp and valid until 2027. If I change job and get H1B transfer with new employer, is 100K fee applicable?
I don't think so. I don't think transfers are applicable. to the $100,000 fee.
Should I fly this spring to start my master's, or should I defer it to next fall until rules get clear?
What makes you think the rules will be clear next fall? I guess is my question. I question the premise. We cannot provide clarity for you, so we don't know what clarity means or when it's going to happen. So I think you'll have to make your decisions without that expectation.
Yeah. Okay. Would H1B 100K fee apply to Canadian citizens or changing from TN to H1B? I work remotely from Canada for my US employer on H1.
So if you're Canadian on the H1 already, that means your petition's already approved. Which means it was filed before September 21st, so you're not subject. In theory, it doesn't matter if you're Canadian or not for the fee to apply to you. Entering the US, you wouldn't require a visa stamp, but you still have to enter the US, right? But that's for people who are entering pursuant to petitions filed after September 21st that are most often cap cases, right? So that doesn't seem like your situation. But if you're changing from TN to H1B, see, you're asking two different questions here. TN to H1B, I'm assuming you have to go through the lottery next year, then you would be subject. If you have an H1 right now, then you're not.
Okay. I'm on F1 STEM OPT. I was recently laid off and my OPT ends on June 2026. Companies are not willing to sponsor H1B and I have 8 months left on OPT. Should I continue to look for jobs in US or just move to India?
I mean, I empathize with your situation. Unfortunately, that's not a question I'm qualified to answer.
Yeah.
So
yeah. There we go. You said during your F1, why you don't stay on that? I'm not sure I understand the question. If you said during your F1, why you don't stay on that? I'm sorry, Sumit, if you can rephrase the question, that'll be helpful. Okay. Here we go. My STEM OPD is expiring on December 2025. I got cap extension till April 2026. Can I work after December 2025 if my H1B is pending?
yes, cap means your OPT is extended until April 2026.
Okay. US government said 100K fee does not apply to H1B1. Are H1B1 or H1B not the same? Can this be challenged? I'm on H1 but can move to TN if H1 become tough.
Like I said earlier, if you're already on the H1, if you need to talk to a lawyer, I would recommend that. You're not subject. So H1B1 is different than the H1B. The H1B1 is for Singaporean and Chilean nationals, pursuant to free trade agreements with both countries. So that is not subject, I don't believe, to this rule.
Yeah. Okay. Does 100K fee apply for cap exempt B1, B2 change of status to H1B within USA?
I don't think so within the US because there's literally no way to pay the fee right now. So I don't think that is, but I think the travel could be suspect.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any other way to file LCA since E-Verify is closed right now due to government shutdown?
Yeah, I mean, to be technically precise, it's the flag system that's closed down, and that's where we file LCAs, and there is no way to file it during the shutdown, unfortunately.
Okay. Can someone change their status from B2 to F1 being currently in United States?
Yes, on Form I-539.
Okay. Is 100K fee just for the travel thing? Well, that's a very broad question.
It conditions entry for future H1B holders, right? If your petition is filed after September 21st, most likely in the next lottery, and then yes, your ability to come into the US would be conditioned on that fee being paid.
Okay. I'm currently on OPT, valid until February 2026, but F1 expired in 2024. I plan to end my employment this December 2025 to begin my master's in January 2026. Is it advisable to travel to India this December 2025 and apply for new F1 visa with my master's I-20, or would it be safer to remain in United States and complete a change of level?
I'm not sure it makes a difference for stamping purposes.
Yeah.
I think whatever risks exist for stamping are going to exist in either scenario. So I'm not sure one is better than the other, honestly. I might say, I mean, if you're switching to masters, you have more educational time ahead of you, right? You're further away from the end of your time in F1. So that, in theory, should help the visa stamping process, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm currently working on F1 STEM OPT expiring July 2027. I am planning to travel to India this month, October. Is it safe to travel? Does 100K fee
Yeah.
apply to me?
Yudi, do 100,000 fee apply to anybody in F1 visas?
Nope. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I want to pick this question. Is this 100K only for a year? I mean, like, can this be a law like forever, or a future administration, or even this one can choose to remove 100K fee later?
We don't know the answers to these questions yet, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
But it is the executive order is for a year.
It
I
is,
mean,
but it lasts for 1 year, but we expect it to be, extended if it goes through. It may not even exist past the next few months if it's struck down in a lawsuit. So we really have no idea at this point. It can't be forever. I mean, a future administration can remove it just as easily as it was instituted, right? If a president created it, another president can take it away.
I mean, that's what he did, remove all the Biden's.
On day one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I got laid off on H1B. Can I transfer to B1, B2 visa? And if I get a new employer, can new employer transfer to H1B if B1, B2 change of status is pending?
You should be able to do both. We've seen both cases of both happening recently.
Right. Last
It's
question.
not really a transfer, H1B transfer, because you're technically not on H1B status. But the point is, you're going from H1B to B1, B2, from pending B1, B2 to H1B, and we've seen that happen recently.
Okay. Here we go. Last question. Got an offer for master's from a major public university. Will the new H1B fee applicable to me, considering fee is not applicable for F1 STEM transfer?
Congratulations, and no, this is not applicable to you.
Yeah.
It's an H1B fee, not an F1 fee.
Yes. Okay. Who's offering the masterclass? Samir is going to be teaching that masterclass.
It's a $100,000 fee for the masterclass.
It's not for people who are watching. Links are again in the description. We have 2 masterclasses, one for founders and one for anybody who's interested in O1, EB1, national interest waiver,
which is meant for beginners.
Which is meant for beginners. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you,
Not
Samir.
just for beginners. It's meant for everybody.
Right. Sorry, yes. Yeah. Thank you, Samir. We'll talk next week. Everybody, we'll meet next week as well. We'll meet Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Have a great week.
Yeah.